Good morning. Today is Friday, February the 12th. Everyone needs to get out a computer and log into Schoology. And the first thing you're going to do is click on your English course. And you are going to go to third 9 weeks. And I'll tell you what, before we go to third 9 weeks, we are going to finish listening to Old Yeller, chapter 9. We only have just maybe 5-10 minutes left of that. And then once we finish that, then we are going to take your DGP test and do the other assignments that I have for you today. Okay, so what I'm going to do right now is if you're in class and you don't have a book, you need to get out your packet. If you're at home and you have a book, you need to get your book out. If not, you need to get the packet that I provided for you. Also, you can log into Schoology and you can read it. You can go to Thursday, February the 11th, and you can click on Old Yeller Full Text PDF. And you can scroll down and you can find it there. I'm going to pull this up on my phone today so that we can listen together and I can stop it as needed. Maybe go to my library.
It was hard to know for certain when you'd found them all, but I kept a piece of ear. Arliss.
Okay, so we left off on chapter 9 yesterday. If you're in your packet, it was on the very last page of chapter 9, and we should pick up about where it says they were right on Old Yeller again. This is when Travis and Old Yeller were trying to gather the hogs together, and it sounded like they were about to run into some issues. Okay, so let's listen and figure out what happens, and then we'll move on.
With an angry roar, one of the Barrows broke the ring to charge him. Instantly, all the others charged too. They were right on Old Yeller again. They were just about to get him. Just let them get a few inches closer, and one of them would slam a 4-inch tush into his soft belly. The thing was, Old Yeller never would let them gain the last few inches on him. They cut and slashed at him from behind and both sides. Yet he never was quite there. Always, he was just a little bit beyond their reach, yet still so close that they couldn't help thinking that the next try was sure to get him. It was a blood-chilling game Old Yeller played with the hogs, but one that you could see he enjoyed by the way he went at it. Give him time, and he'd take that bunch of angry hogs clear down out of the hills and into the pens at home if that's where I wanted them. Never driving them, just leading them along. But that's where Papa and I had other hog hunters outfigured. We almost never took our hogs to the pens to work them anymore. That took too much time. Also, after we got them penned, there was still the dangerous job of catching the pigs away from the old ones. I hollered at Old Yeller. "Bring 'em on, Yeller," I said. Then I turned and headed for a big gnarled live oak tree that stood in a...
Gnarled is one of your vocabulary words from previous chapters, all tied up and twisted. Okay, that gnarled tree.
Clear patch of ground down the draw piece. I picked out that tree because it had a huge branch that stuck out to one side. I went and looked the branch over and saw that it was just right. It was low, yet still far enough above the ground to be out of reach of the highest cutting hog. I climbed up the tree and squatted on the branch. I unwound my rope from where I'd packed it coiled around my waist and shook out a loop. Then I hollered for Old Yeller to bring the hogs to me. He did what I told him. He brought the fighting hogs to the tree and rallied them in a ring around it. Then he stood back holding them there while he cocked his head sideways at me, wanted to know what came next. I soon showed him. I waited till one of the pigs came trotting under my limb. I dropped my loop around him, gave it a quick yank, and lifted him, squealing and kicking, up out of the shuffling and roaring mass of hogs below. I clamped him between my knees, pulled out my knife, and went to work on him. First, I folded his right ear and sliced out a 3-cornered gap in the top side, a mark that we called an overbit. Then, from the underside of his left ear, I slashed off a long strip that ran clear to the point. That is what we called an underslope. That had a marked for me. Our mark was overbit the right and underslope the left. Other settlers had other marks.
All right, so you need to know that, okay? Our mark was overbit the right and underslope the left. And I want you to kind of think about like cattle farmers, okay? They tag their cows now, or they brand them. And what Travis is doing right now is letting other people know that these are their hogs, okay?
Like crop the right and underbit the left, or 2 underbits in the right ear, or an overslope in the left and an overbit in the right. Everybody knew the hog mark of everybody else, and we all respected them. We never butchered or sold a hog that didn't belong to us, or marked a pig following a sow that didn't wear our mark. Cutting marks in a pig's ear is bloody work, and the scared pig kicks and squeals like he's dying, but he's not really hurt. What hurts him is the castration. And I never did like that part of the job, but it had to be done, and still does if you want to eat hog meat. Let a boar hog get grown without cutting his seeds out, and his meat is too tough and rank-smelling to eat. The squealing of the pig and the scent of his blood made the hogs beneath me go nearly wild with anger. You never heard such roaring and teeth-popping as they kept circling the tree and rearing up on its trunk, trying to get to me. The noise they made, the hate and anger that showed in their eyes was enough to chill your blood. Only, I was used to the feeling and didn't let it bother me. That is, not much. Sometimes I'd let my mind slip for a minute and get to thinking how they'd slash me to pieces if I happened to fall out of the tree. And I'd feel a sort of cold shudder run all through me. But Papa had told me right from the start that fear was a right and natural feeling for anybody, and nothing to be ashamed of. It's a thing of your mind, he said, and you can train your mind to handle it, just like you can train your arm to throw a rock. Put that way, it made sense to be afraid, so I hadn't bothered about that. I put in all my time trying to train my mind not to let fear stampede me. Sometimes
this that Travis just said, that Papa said, we have to train our mind to not let fear overrun us. Okay, this is something that we all need to hear today. We need to learn to not be fearful. I mean, we need to, take precautions with certain things, but at the same time, we can't worry to the degree that it takes over our life. Okay. And so Papa had really good advice there for Travis. But in the situation that Travis is in, he most definitely needs to be cautious because those hogs can kill him.
It did yet, of course. But not when I was working hogs. I'd had enough experience at working hogs that now I could generally look down and laugh at them. I finished with the first pig and dropped it to the ground. Then, one after another, I roped the others, dragged them up into the tree, and worked them over. A couple of times, the old hogs on the ground got so mad that they broke ranks and charged Old Yeller. But right from the start, Old Yeller had caught on to what I wanted. Every time they chased him from the tree, he'd just run off a little way and circle back, then stand off far enough away that they'd rally around my tree again. In less than an hour, I was done with the job. And the only trouble we had was getting the hogs to leave the tree after I was finished. After going to so much trouble to hold the hogs under the tree, Old Yeller had a hard time understanding that I finally wanted them out of the way. And even after I got them to leave, The hogs were so mad and so suspicious that I had to squat there in the tree for nearly an hour longer before they finally drifted away into the brush, making it safe for me to come down. Chapter 10.
All right. So we are going to stop right there. I'm going to walk through with you your assignments for today. And then when I finish that, you may get started on your DGP test and your comprehension questions for Old Yeller, okay? So at this point, I'm going to go to Module 3 and go to Friday, February the 12th. All right, you will see here that your DGP test is here and it's ready to go. All right, your assignment is going to be Old Yeller, Chapter 7 through 9, comprehension questions, okay? You're going to open assignment with Cami. And then once you get your assignment opened, you're just going to type in your answers. Now, you have Chapter 7, Chapter 8, and Chapter 9. Okay, there's not that many, but here is the thing that I need for you to make sure that you are aware of. The directions right here. You must answer in complete sentences by restating the question in your answer. Okay, these are going to count 2 points each. You will have a point deducted per question for not following directions. All right, so Chapter 7 says, explain one thing that the family does to try and keep Old Yeller from stealing. So your answer should begin by saying, one thing the family does to try and keep Old Yeller from stealing is, okay, and one thing they really do try to do is allow him to sleep inside, okay? So one thing the family does to try and keep Old Yeller. Hold on, will y'all just sit it down? I'm recording my class right now. Do what now? It don't matter. Thank you. One thing the family does to try and keep Old Yeller from stealing is allowing him to sleep inside. Okay? That's all you have to do. But I need for you to make sure that you start your sentence with a capital letter and that you punctuate at the end. Okay? All right. So when you finish Chapter 7 through 9 comprehension questions, okay, you're going to go down and you're going to click on these next assignments. Chapter 7 verbs, Chapter 8 protagonist and antagonist, and Chapter 9 main idea. All right, Chapter 7, you're going to open with Cami. And this is all stuff that we have, for the most part, already gone over, okay? Adjectives and character comparison. You're going to list the adjectives from the first 6 paragraphs of this chapter. So Chapter 7, you need to go back and look at the first 6 paragraphs and list all of the adjectives that you see. Now think of 10 more additional adjectives here, okay? Compare or contrast Travis to yourself. How are you similar or different from Travis? And explain it in detail. You're going to type in your answer here. When you finish, you're going to turn it in. Okay? All right, you have another one that is for Chapter 8, protagonist and antagonist. Go into open assignment with Cami. All right, thought, question, and antagonist and protagonist. In your own words, explain hydrophobia and, according to Burns Sanderson, how to tell if an animal has it. What do they do with an animal suspected of having the disease? Okay. The protagonist is the most important character or the good guy of a story, and the antagonist is the one who is in conflict with the main character or the bad guy. Who is the protagonist of Old Yeller? And who would you say is the antagonist? Okay. The protagonist is is pretty blank, okay, or pretty obvious. The antagonist of this one, I could see where you could pick a couple different characters. I want you to explain to me why you think whoever you choose is the antagonist, okay? And then we will go back and we will discuss this activity probably on Monday. All right, if you were to finish that, then you're going to go back and you are going to go ahead and click on Chapter 9, Main Idea, open assignment with Cami, and verbs and main idea. A verb is an action word. If it is something that you do, it is a verb. Okay, we cover this every single week with DGP. Verbs also include words such as am, is, are, was, were, have, said, etc. Okay, list the verbs or verb phrases from the first 2 chapters of this chapter. This is chapter 9. List the verb or verb phrases from the first 2 paragraphs. Okay. The main idea refers to the topic of what is written. What is the main idea of this chapter? I just want you to basically summarize and tell me what the main idea, what the basic point is of chapter 9. Okay. And when you finish that, you can turn it in. You should have plenty of assignments and work today to keep you busy. You should not be talking or getting up out of your seat for any reason. I would prefer that all of these assignments be submitted today before you leave class. If not, you may need to finish some of them over the weekend so we can review and check them on Monday. I hope you all have a great weekend and a happy Valentine's Day weekend. And I will see you all Monday. Oh, also, if you have any zeros listed in Schoology or in iNow, it is your responsibility to go back on to Schoology and to make that workup. I am not going to chase it down or to ask you numerous times to get your work made up, okay? Go look at the gradebook in Schoology, and all you have to do is click on that assignment and it'll pull right up. Make it up, all right? If not, some of you may be ending up in Saturday school, okay? Let me know if you have any questions, and I will see y'all Monday.